My name's Chris.
And I'm Kristie.
This is the Washing Up Podcast. We are laughing because we've been waiting to start this podcast for a little bit.
But we've been passing a yawn to one another.
Yeah, we keep yawning. So I went to start and I yawned, and then and we've been in a loop. It's been a yawning loop ever since. Interestingly enough, though, not caused by the episodes.
No,
because
they've been delightful.
Look, we've got some issues with the box challenge. We'll talk about that. But beyond that, the last 2 nights have been fucking delightful.
Absolutely.
And tonight, we're going to start with tonight and go backwards. Because tonight's episode was an absolute fucking joy.
Yeah, Jess is a fucking delight.
Oh, I love Jess. Oh my God.
She's the MVP of this season.
This episode, for me personally, this episode is the best. It's the best challenge they've done. Mm-hmm. The second one was good, but the first challenge tonight is the best challenge they've done, and it is the best group of people they could have had to do the challenge.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it started with Reese not being masculine enough.
And we went from there.
It's just so awesome.
And we built from that ground point. So the yawning is continuing, but we're going to keep going anyway because we are here for you people. It began with Jock saying it's a cocker.
Well, after Tuesday night's box, we need to even it out.
Heart. Sorry, that's...
You went one way, yeah, I went to penis.
I went that direction with my comment, but Twitter went Joe Cocker. And I was, on one hand, it's good to think of the singer of Mad Dogs and Englishmen whenever you're watching TV.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it is a bit like referencing just pure cock references at this point in time. And with the amount of innuendo we had on Tuesday night, look, I'm in the innuendo headspace. This is very Bake Off this week.
It is indeed. I just want to... Okay, I know some people hate it when I go on tangents, but fuck it. I had a beautiful memory just pop into my head with the mention of Joe Cocker. Oh my God,
I thought you were about to say I had a beautiful memory pop into my head when I heard the mention of the word cock. And
That's true.
Anyway, Joe Cocker, go.
This is a more innocent time before I knew about cock. It was all
You knew about Joe Cocker?
Joe Cocker. So we did a bands by the sea at school where all the bands at school got to play, and it was really cool because us year 8s got to play with the year 12s, and the year 12s were like fucking cool. Like there was, I think her name was Tani, who was like this cool goth chick, very good singer. Anyway, our collaboration song was Little Help From My Friends, the Joe Cocker version, and it went off, like just feeling the soul. And then for a while I was really into Joe Cocker, and like from a moment in time I actually knew how to play the piano for Ticket for, Ticket for an Airplane, that one.
The letter.
The letter, that's the one. Thank you for not leaving me hanging, as you so
often do.
It's like you'd be the worst person to go mountaineering with.
Just letting you hang on top of the mountain.
We're on Everest. I'm like, just one little help up. No.
Can I also just point out, just quickly, that isn't it nice to hear the phrase, it was a much simpler, more naive time, when talking about Joe Cocker, a man who did not remember any of Woodstock.
Or the decade before or after.
Performed one of the most legendary sets at one of the most legendary concerts ever, admitted to everyone, didn't remember a fucking second of it.
Yep.
Because he was on so many things, he didn't know. He didn't know what he did.
He didn't need to worry about it. It's not being filmed.
It's not filmed.
He can watch it.
There's a moment.
It's like people with Mardi Gras. That's why they have to show it the next day.
There's a moment.
People go, I did go.
I was there. Oh, that was me swinging off that lamppost. Anyway, tonight's challenge, like the challenge to get the immunity challenge off and running, was an absolute, as it was put down, cocker. Or corker, depending on who you are. So, look, I'm actually starting to...
ode to his...
I'm starting to feel a little bit like that was sort of Jock Andying up a little bit. It's a corker.
It's a corker.
As a result, Andy now has to eat haggis.
So does that now... Because didn't we have
slang? We'll come to that.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
I'm going to count it. We'll come back.
That is slang.
We'll come back. We're going to we'll do the drinking game card sort of in the gap between last night's challenge and Tuesday night's challenge, because we've got to have gap filler here, especially since the amount of yawning is never going to end.
God, what is going on?
I don't know. Every time I look at you yawning, it must be me. Anyway, so When we have been told our banter is boring. Anyway, so
That was a foul review.
but I'm ching. Tonight's challenge was all about packet noodles.
Yes.
Instant packet noodles.
It was, and they pointed out perfectly, staple of childhood and students and,
Childhood
Asian
and
houses.
students alike.
Yes.
So they wheeled it out, and I loved the look on everyone's face. What I loved about it was they wheeled it out, and before you knew what it was, there was this moment of, what the fuck have they just done? Because everyone in the kitchen had this look of amazement and wonderment and thrill and joy on their face, and we're like, what the fuck are they bringing out? And it's just packets of noodles.
It is. And I'd love Melissa Leong tweeting out to assure everyone we would have got the mee goreng.
The one that everyone knows.
Indomie.
The Indomie ones.
But, it was the start of COVID and that's what everyone stocked up on. And I have to say, if you're going to go stock up on noodles, they're the fucking ones you want to.
We have a couple of things of mee goreng in the cupboard. I'm not going to lie. We have them.
We're not hoarders.
Not hoarding them. I didn't buy a
mee
box.
goreng.
I didn't buy a
No.
box. I used to.
Oh, so did I.
I would frequently buy boxes of mee goreng and just sort of live off them.
I just remember being initiated into that. My mate Ra initiated me into the joy that is mee goreng, like the Indomie mee goreng. He took me to Ashfield, which is awesomely, and I'm going to say Asian heavy because it's got everyone from Vietnamese, Chinese, everyone there.
In Miscellaneous City.
In Miscellaneous City. He's like, if you've only got $20 to live on for the week, I'm going to show you breakfast, lunch and dinner of champions.
That could have bought you several boxes.
Oh my God, it was the biggest box I'd ever seen of mee goreng. And I did it. And
First box joke for the night, ladies and gentlemen. First box joke for the night. The biggest box that Kristie ever saw, did her for breakfast, lunch and dinner and cost her $20. Anyway.
It was a box stuffed full of noodle, mind you. And this is the beauty of it. It has one, not two, not three, but 4 fucking flavour sachets.
And what Melissa Leong pointed out was, first of all, as Kristie said, it was, basically it was the start of COVID and you couldn't get it. But secondly, they wanted to stretch everybody out to beyond the basic, the original.
Indomie.
The idea was, but that's what she said. I'm phrasing it like she said.
I'm sorry, but the basic original for white Australians, though, is your Maggi.
No, but we're talking about for what they were doing.
Okay, cool.
Like she said, the basic original. We wanted to stretch them past that. Now, the Maggi. The Maggi noodles.
Had to be there because they were obviously sponsored.
Well, they're a
tonight.
sponsor, but I also don't have a problem with that. I mean, I love 2-minute noodles. And interestingly enough, I was one of the few people who ever bought the pork flavour ones.
Oh, didn't have those.
Yeah, they had the pink.
They
They had the pink colour thing on.
Oh, yes, they did too.
And then they went with pork and corn. I think it was. It was a weird mixture.
Yeah, then they
and
did chicken and corn.
No, don't want to do that. I still get the Oriental noodles now. Before anyone jumps at me.
But I
before anyone jumps at me, because I've just said Oriental noodles, so I have to explain here. No, I don't fucking think they're Asian. But what else are you going to call the random flavour sachet? Like, they can't say random flavour sachet noodles.
They should, though.
They should. I agree. They need to dump the Oriental, because it's not Oriental in any way, shape or form.
Umami.
Yeah, umami would be good. Umami noodles, I'm fine with that.
Umami noodles.
But I don't like chicken 2-minute noodles.
I used to as a kid, but now they're
I could
salty.
do the beef.
Now they're like kind of giving cunnilingus to a mermaid.
I could do the beef.
Yeah.
I can't do the chicken ones. I like the Oriental ones. Again, it's the umami flavour. It's not about it being Asian flavours. It's about umami.
I can't do the Maggi anymore. I find the noodles too thick and too cloying. I like the fantastic noodles and the sui min. Sui min is
they're nice. Alongside what Simon said, though, he's right. You use more than one packet of that shit. Whenever I do 2-minute noodles, it's 2. It's 2 packets.
Yep.
And they cook in the right time. The problem that Simon had with his dish tonight was he decided at the very end to start a second one.
Because there is that. But what I find if you're using 2 packets of noodles, right, is you can't use the 2 flavour sachets. No. That's too much.
It's about 1 1/3.
Yeah, 1 is not enough. You've got to balance it out.
It's 1 1/3. I'm a master at this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's noodle time. What you need to do is you put 2 packets in and you use about 1 1/3 of the thing, maybe 1 1/2 if you're really pushing it.
Yeah.
But 1 1/3 is the perfect balance of flavour to noodle. The other question, that it's a big question, and it divides the nation really. Broth or no?
Now that depends. When I was a little kid, I used to love the broth because I dipped my white bread with butter on it, or the margarine, and I loved that.
So white.
It's so white. I was so white.
I used to like the broth too, and I would drink it at the end. But now, I do not like the broth.
No broth.
I want my noodles dry.
Oh, the fantastic, I don't mind with the broth because the oriental flavour there. Again, we know. What is oriental anyway? It's just a fucking white word for everything unknown to the 17th century.
Again, it basically they should be called umami noodles.
Yeah.
Because that would work. That makes perfect sense. I tend to, with the mee goreng, I tend to actually get things like chicken out and do the chicken and then add some flavour, add some spice to it. Now, nothing to the level of these four.
Oh my God, like when they said, do this, the first flash I had was when I was a Girl Guide and we did Girl Guide goulash and the basis of that was 2-minute noodles and it was just whatever the fuck else the guide leaders had bought for us to make.
Cut to...
Yeah.
Look, let's start with her. Cut to Poe. Poe starts at lobster.
This is 2-minute noodles that fucking Prince Harry had as a student. This is Prince William.
This is Eton days.
Slumming it and Eton.
So
I'm here as a student. Oh, they say you have to eat 2-minute noodles as a student. Here, so I've prepared you some noodles. It has lobster and abalone, I believe.
It was amazing. Like, she starts with lobster. When they did her dish and when they showed her dish, they simply called it seafood noodles. And I'm like, that feels like the understatement of the century. She couldn't remember everything that she fucking put in there. She put so much shit in there. People on the gantry were calling out ingredients she put in there. I wonder if she actually put all of those in there, or if there were people on the gantry just yelling out random shit. Tofu, bugs, what else in there? Calamari.
I just love Poe's let's fucking do this, okay? Bougie attitude. Let's just pimp the shit. It's like buying a Volkswagen, van and then just decking it out with all fucking, like, a full kit and rhinestones and fucking Swarovski crystals and fucking...
We've talked a lot about, and we're going to mention it again soon, the Poe in peril narrative, and we've talked about how overdone that's been and how overexposed sort of Poe's
fine
been
tonight.
On. But what I have to say is that, first of all, she's fucking been on fire in the past week.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, she's genuinely been on fire.
Since she won that immunity last week, just on the up and up.
The other thing with the Poe in peril narrative that I think gets lost in all the shuffle is that Poe in this series has an attitude of, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I don't care if I really go home or not. I'm going to try something.
She's here to be an artist and to make it interesting, and I love that.
And again, there's a lot of people, because of the overexposure of Poe early on, who was like really reacting hard against it. What I sort of say to people like that is, take this as art. Take it as impressionist art.
Yeah.
Right? Take this as a Dada-esque experience in the Masterchef kitchen, and take this as this sort of...
Don't bring up that image.
I know.
Have I told people the podcast about the chicken?
You have. We're going to move on.
Okay.
We're going to move on.
So, more frozen chicken talk.
So, but it's a Dada-esque sort of... She's fine. It's Picasso, all right?
No, he's worse. He's a child molester.
Thank you. An artist of general note in the Masterchef kitchen.
Go on, someone like... I don't know. Who's the one with the
Frida Kahlo, all right? It's Frida Kahlo, okay?
The melting clocks, that guy. Like, oh, God, no, I can't.
It's Monet. It's the water lilies, okay? So think of these as lilies, not as cool or crazy as, like, all the things I was describing before, but far more socially acceptable. So think of it as Monet. Think of it as the bridge. Think of it as the lilies.
Van Gogh.
He cuts his ear off. He's fucked.
And he did stalk a woman, yeah.
Yeah, he's nuts. All right. When you start digging into the art world, Kristie, they're all a bit fucked in the head. Anyway.
George O'Keefe. That was Tuesday night.
They're all a bit fucked in the head. Anyway, so think of this as just watching an artist in residence going, and everyone else is going, I'm going to, present this basic painting. I'm going to present this basic painting. I've got it. I know how to do this. I know an art analogy that won't get you to go, but that person's problematic, right?
It's piss Christ.
It's fucking Pro Hart
Oh, Mr. Hart, what they miss?
Everyone else is painting a canvas, and Poe's pouring jelly on the carpet.
Yes!
And spilling beans, and popping champagne corks. And sure, the cleaning woman has to come past a couple of times in an episode to tidy her up a bit and put her back on track. The judges in this analogy are the cleaning woman. Oh, Miss Poe, what a mess! And they put her back on track.
Oh, Miss Poe, are you done in the pantry?
Yeah. Poe, are you alive? Medical alert. She's going to have to walking around with a fucking medical alert bracelet on at some point because they think she's dying. But Poe is an absolute artist at the moment, like Pro Hart. She's drawing faces on carpet.
Yep.
And the judges are trying to rein her in, and they can't really rein her in.
No.
And every now and then she does something fucked and stupid and weird, and for example, tries to boil an egg, which takes 5 minutes in 3
minutes,
and it's
feel it in 10
and,
seconds.
and what I loved was the way that social media ran with it and went, if anyone can boil a 5-minute egg in 3 minutes, no, it's not even Poe. It's fucking impossible, but nice try. You've just got to take it at that. Uh-huh. She doesn't care about winning, people.
No, she's here for the experience.
Not care.
She's here for the journey.
Regardless of if Poe gives you a voiceover saying, I'm really in this to win this. No, she's not. She's in this to do really weird, fun shit.
I mean, imagine it, right? You get offered to be paid to sit in a sandbox and play.
Yep.
Well, I wouldn't like that because I find that would be like cat pee and just...
Texturally, the sand would be all over the place.
But, if you're paid to do something that you love in a way that you can just freely express yourself, that's fantastic. And what I love about it is that kind of energy is infectious because look at Jess. Like, I don't think Poe inspired Jess. What I think is that this kind of current and energy of creation and freedom and boldness is just running through the contestants. So we've got Jess just stepping up like a fucking wonderful, gorgeous, boss-kind queen.
So we'll get on to Jess now, and then we'll come to the other two, because Reese is going to have his own segment. Simon's even going to have his own segment here. So we'll get on to Jess. So Poe obviously goes batshit crazy and can't list everything.
Okay, she is... when they do the three, the $2 to, least expensive to most expensive version of a food?
Yes.
She's the most expensive.
Yeah, she's the Epicurious most expensive. Someone's, Emily from Epicurious. If you've never seen those videos, go watch them on YouTube. They're great. Emily from Epicurious, who puts tomato sauce and everything. By the way, apparently that's a thing.
What?
Apparently people put tomato sauce.
My uncle was addicted to tomato sauce.
All over fucking 2-minute noodles.
Ooh.
That is fucking disgusting, people. Stop it. I will call services.
Is that technically like a really shit spaghetti then? Because you're using a noodle with a tomato sauce.
It's embarrassing is what that is. Anyway, so on the Epicurious channel, Emily, who does all the cheap dishes as an amateur chef, puts tomato sauce on everything, including French toast. Emily would be pouring tomato sauce all over the 2-minute noodles.
She'd just boil it and then right next to it for Emily.
Yeah, exactly, for Emily. And meanwhile, when you get to the really expensive version of it, there's Poe with lobster and fucking tofu and mushroom shavings and...
I like how you equivalate tofu to expensive.
Well, in comparison to just pouring tomato sauce over things. Anyway.
Equate, there's the word.
Yes, anyway.
Yep.
Jess.
Jess, indeed.
What in the fuck is that girl on? And how many pixie sticks did she have?
Holy moly.
I'm going to sort of start from when they came up to her at the end. And we're going to do a really quick one because it's a speed round, 15 minutes only. Jess, what's in your dish? And they were being really stupid. Followed by, I know I talk fast. I could not keep up with the speed at which Jess said her dish to the point where Andy and Jock looked at her, laughed and went, sure, bye. Because
it was that Saved by the Bell episode
where she's addicted to caffeine because they couldn't mention a harder drug because the network wouldn't let them. So she's there I'm a maniac.
But Jess would only go the caffeine. She's just... But I loved the energy and just her... decision to just fucking go for it.
Jess's attitude in this whole week, in this whole series so far, but especially the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Jess's attitude has just been, fuck it. I'm going to go for this. And, like, she's been so amazing.
I'm going to say something very controversial. Not controversial to me.
Do it.
But controversial to the fans of this particular person. I think Jess is better than Reynolds.
I agree. Come at me. Come at me, bros.
Come at me. She's won 2 immunities. She's really good with the desserts. She might not have had the length of experience yet, but I reckon you give her the same length of experience as Reynolds and some of the same opportunities, and she would just keep leaping.
But has she blown sugar?
I don't know. That's between Jess and Sugar.
I might have.
We don't want to pry into her personal
There might have been a conversation online last night that involved somebody telling me that Reynolds has been very hard done by in this series because they haven't given him immunity yet.
It's not a fucking. Oh, we
gift.
Like you the best.
And it was then followed.
Contest.
And it was then followed up by we know he's clearly the best in there, and it's a long distance between him and everyone else. And so my response was, so we shouldn't be even putting the show on?
We just hand Reynolds
a plate?
And say, ta-da, you're on it.
So, look, again, skilled. Yes, we're not questioning his skills and ability.
Dedicated.
But everyone else in there is just as damn talented. And it's that simple.
Yeah,
and it's a very even playing field. Absolutely. And Jess has shown a lot more in the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
Genuinely.
And it's not just desserts.
It's everything.
Her savoury is amazing too.
We'll get to the duck curry in a minute. But...
And not only that, she's a fucking kindness boss. Like, tonight, I'm sure she's been listening to and doing, like, mantras or something about, I am confident, I am this, I am that. And she comes out, right, and then, like, Reese is like, oh, I can't open this, blah, blah, and she's like, I will open that for you. And she goes over and tries to open it.
The middle of the fucking challenge, Jess is doing, like, 8 things at her bench.
Yeah.
And Reese can't open the fucking bottle and goes back. And she can't open it, puts it down, and that's when the gantry yelled out, use a spoon, Reese! And Reese yelled out the line of the series, which was, I'm not that masculine. We fucking adore you, Reese.
Yes.
Absolutely fucking love you. But we'll get to a bit more Jess soon, because obviously we've got more time to talk about Jess.
So much more Jess, yeah.
Reese. Hasn't he been Energy Plus?
Reese is one of my favourite delights this season. He is sweetness and light.
He's found his confidence. Like Jess, he's found his confidence.
Yeah, it's just that little bit of time to kind of, I think, get to know yourself and be comfortable with yourself and be comfortable with others knowing you.
And just a brief point, Reese, if I may. The shaved head is working for you very well.
Oh, yeah.
Keep that going. When they had the flashback, I'm like, oh, that's right.
You had the floppy hair.
No, that's right. This is a good look. This is a very good look, Reese. No, Reese's energy has been stunningly good.
Yeah.
Absolutely stunningly good. And he made the the noodles that he made looked goddamn sensational.
They did.
I would have happily just face down in the bowl.
Yeah, and like they said, this isn't like something you don't usually cook with Asian flavours, and it's good to see that. So bring
more of it, and I agree.
And when he dobbed Jess in for actually eating 2-minute noodles regularly.
Yeah, but I liked at the start of the challenge when Jess because you know how they always go, oh, I make this all the time, which is code for never fucking done it in my life. Might have made it once when someone suggested it. Like the other day when, Hayden did the dumplings.
Yeah.
And he's like, I made these the other night for the boys, and the boys are going, oh.
Yeah, they were great.
Well, Jess goes, I actually made 2-minute noodles. Well, last night. Fair enough. So, Simon.
Yes.
Simon was also perfect for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Now, his chili oil noodles, first of all, we talked about the double packet. And I am here for the double packet, although you should have done them at the start. Secondly, I don't really like anchovies, but I would have eaten that dish.
Yeah.
It looked sensational.
Oh, it looked amazing. And I really did feel for him when you just know you haven't got enough sauce to coat those noodles.
And you can see it, unfortunately, when he twisted them.
Yeah.
You can see some dark noodles and some light noodles.
And you're like, oh.
And you're like, oh, I know where this is going.
I mean, 2-minute noodles are not pleasant when they're not sauced up.
No, if they're just like the stringy noodle. I mean, and look, Jess managed to do her one, by the way. Remember, she was trying to crisp up the noodles.
Oh, I felt so sorry for her. Trying to, because I like crispy noodles.
We've talked about how temperamental those ovens can get. And I'm like, that's brave to try on that stovetop to get that oil up to temperature. So I felt bad for her on that front. But like Simon with his flavours, he's just he's come up a gear in terms of the way he puts his flavours together. Yep. And we'll talk about him a bit more in a minute when we talk about last night's challenge and the vegetables and the idea of, putting the pressure on him as the veggie guy and then, having to kill the vegan dish. But I thought that this tonight again was another sign that Simon's understanding of how flavour goes on a plate has evolved really well. And there's subtleties in what he does. There's now subtleties in the way that flavour is presented. And look, I'm here for more. I'm here for more of it. I'm here for more of the way he did things. I'm here for more of the way he presents his dishes. I'm just here for more of it. So we ended up, after they had the fall, they said it was quite clear who the two were. Yeah. It was going to be Poe and her, let's call them seafood noodles. Because I'm looking at a photo now of the seafood noodles to try to identify as many things as possible.
You see more seafood than noodles.
Yeah, there are noodles in there somewhere, I believe. They're buried underneath under the Triton's dish. Anyway, there's more seafood in that than this seafood melange that Harry presented that they sent him home for, saying there was too much seafood in. Anyway, there's far more seafood in that.
Murder sea or whatever, the French name for a seafood platter.
Yeah, literally just
more seafood on that than the local club seafood dish.
Oh, it was delightful though. The fried calamari.
Yeah, you can choose to have half a Mornay or half a garlic,
or you can get a seafood stick. Anyway, so I liked when they talked about comfort food then, because they went, okay, we've gone from noodles. And by the way, when they talked about comfort food, and notice we're not really pronouncing things because we're not going to bastardise them. Yeah. If we can't pronounce the dishes, we are happy for you to tell us how to pronounce them, and we'll do it on the next podcast.
And we apologise, we just don't have time to prepare. We
literally do this immediately following. So, again, if we make mistakes in pronunciation, understand it's the timing, and we're more than happy to
be corrected.
And have people tell us how to do it, because we want to learn, we want to know. But I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but when Melissa was talking about her comfort food dish, there was a moment that sort of sums up a lot of this series for me. They cut to the gantry. Yeah. And there's Sarah Tiong just sort of holding her heart going, oh. And it was that representation, and it's that visibility, and that's that moment there. I'm like, yep, this is real conversations about cuisine other than, Eurocentric cuisine.
Yeah, and I think it helps people to get out of your mindset in terms of okay, a red curry isn't a comfort food for me. I mean, a fucking green curry is. But that said, typically people would say something along the lines of, porridge that's got such and such on it, or my mum's chicken noodle soup, or...
But this was the equivalency.
Roast. And that's the equivalency, because it's stuff that you've grown up with, that someone who loves you has prepared for you, or that you've made for yourself in times that, you just needed to feel loved and
that was what both of them said when both Poe and Jess, when they were talking about those dishes. For Jess, the red curry was on the menu at her parents' restaurant, and it was something they sold a lot of, and she absolutely loved it.
And when she described her making the roti, you were there with her, how she was describing, and I'd be out the back there flipping the roti, while my dad's making that great red curry.
And look, to be fucking honest with you, I'm here for duck curry as a comfort food. I am here for it. If somebody wants to prepare me a duck curry and say, here's some comfort food for you, I will be very comforted. You know who wasn't comforted when they were talking about comfort food?
Who?
Jock. So,
Jock.
I don't know if you noticed this.
Jock.
I don't know if you noticed this.
So bereft.
But when they talked about comfort food, Melissa described hers in great vivid detail. Andy then described something about blistering cherry tomatoes and having a glass of wine, and then made a weird noise that everyone laughed at. And Jock just goes, but it could be anything. My grandmother would have said this. Notice he never said that he has a comfort food. And basically...
Jock can never be comforted.
Well, that's what all I'm thinking is, as a Scotsman, Jock doesn't do comfort.
Just deep fry it.
Jock does not do comfort at all.
It's freezing your balls off in a kilt on the Highlands.
It's the Billy Connolly line about the Scots, talking about the idea of when a lot of the Scottish settlers decided to go, and they found fucking Tahiti and all these islands, and they're like, there's paradise, it's warm, and it's nope, too fucking warm. Where did they go? South. Where did they find the bottom of the South Island of New Zealand? Fuck yeah, that's closer to it. So much better. Or describing holidays with his family, you know, where he goes, we don't go to the beach, you just go up north and throw your kids in the North Sea. You know, you throw them in, they turn blue, you pull them back out again. Done. That's kind of the comfort. So, like, Jock doesn't really do comfort food. Yeah. Jock ate a handful of gravel, and you know what? Fucking lucky. Anyway.
Well, eating oatcakes
and we love
a bit like that.
Well, when McVitie's digestives are considered a delicacy in a cuisine, and people always talk about, you know, McVitie's digestive biscuits were the ones that you used to keep for when the good people popped around, and like it's a fucking digestive biscuit.
Yeah, but they had bannock cakes and like pottage and they're not, you know,
but not in a lot of the parts of Scotland. In like 1970s, 1980s Scotland was not full of things like that.
No, it was more.
No, there were lots of tenements.
Mars bars battered and deep fried.
That was later. That was the 80s. That was the 90s. Anyway,
look at me just not knowing my Scottish food history. Sorry, Scotland.
You need to work on that. You need to work on that. So anyway, so they were making comfort food. I said Poe talked about, you know, going back to, you know, her mother making her dish for her, and just that image of all of that. Now again, Poe decides she's going to make a million things.
She went a little Flora from Great British Bake Off.
To the point where she says at one point that what she was going to make involved wrapping everything, of course, in banana leaf.
Yep.
And look, Poe, we're going to give you credit. You managed to avoid Tati.
Guardian of the banana tree.
Who is the guardian of the banana tree? Because if you remember Tati's series, there wasn't I think there was about a 2-week period there where there wasn't a dish that Tati served that didn't end up wrapped in banana leaf. Like, even if it didn't need to be wrapped in banana leaf.
So Poe's dish was nasi lemak.
Yep.
And she had the fish custard with it, and I'm going to look up what that is.
Otak, I think. But I don't know if I don't know if that's the exact pronunciation. Again, apologies. So
we're going to do better.
We're going to work on it. So, like, she does that, and that was her sort of comfort food. Jess, meanwhile, gets asked if her curry is spicy or mild, and basically says yes.
It'll be what it will be.
Is it spicy or mild? Yes, no, I don't know.
It is both spicy and mild at the same time, for I am Jess the
I don't know if Jess's mind ever slowed down long enough to process what was happening, and I kind of think that's a good thing.
It was fantastic. She was like an athlete in a zone. Like the way she started out with the roti dough. Like she's just like boom, boom, and then he just throw that when that knocked the
when they all came over to watch her make the roti, she could not have given a shit. She's just like, bam, I'm just making the roti. And then to top it all off, we get to a minute to go, and Jess looks around and goes, I just need to add one more element, and runs. And everyone at the gantry goes, Jess! But she fucking did it. It ended up being the element they loved the most.
But here we are, right, in this fantastic... This is what we want. We want to see balls to the wall, going all out, no fucks given, no playing it safe. We're going to fucking do an egg in 10 seconds. We're going to fucking go and get a last-minute addition in the last 5 seconds. You know, this makes me happy. And to see two amazing women at different, like, places in their career come to this kind of, like, fucking amazing challenge, it's just joy. It's just made my day. I've had a shit day at work, and this has just perked me right up.
The other interesting thing that I found out of this whole thing was we had a moment between Andy and Jess where Andy went over to Jess's bench and was talking to her about, you know, how much she had to do and like how long she had left to do it. And it was real Andy. Like, it wasn't the staged Andy that we've got, which is overboard. It was just the most relatable, believable that Andy's been.
Like, when he was, like, waving bye-bye, he's got this...
Where the fuck has he been hiding?
Yeah.
Can we see more of him, please?
It was the real Andy, and it reminded me, and this is a big compliment, a little bit of the charming Michael Scott from The Office. You know, like, there was none of these, like, Gary affectations. It was Andy in this charming, childlike funness and being authentically respectful to Jess.
They were bouncing around the kitchen tonight. They were having so much fun in this whole challenge. All of them. Everybody in that kitchen was having fun. Even the people who looked ultra serious at times. But I also loved when they're trying to get Poe involved in like with Jess making the roti, and they're like, Poe, she's making roti, and she looks over and Poe's like, I almost made that whole dish, and like, I thought about making roti too, and you could just see Poe's eyes sort of shifted up into the corner, like she's working at it, she's got time. And Laura, with the most worthwhile contribution from anyone on the gantry in a very long time, is the angel on the shoulder going, Poe, don't do it.
No, Poe, no. No, Poe, no.
Laura sensed exactly where Poe was going and was like, don't you dare. Don't you dare. You don't have time. You really don't have time. Then we had Poe deciding that she was going to try to do a 5-minute egg in 3 minutes. And, like, at one point she looks at Andy while it's cooking, and Andy and Jock, and they're yelling at her about the egg, and she looks at them and goes, can I just serve it in the shell? And then, like, she's peeling the egg, and that's what Jock goes, can you peel an egg in a minute? In 10 seconds. And then, sure enough, like, she gets it all, it's falling apart, and she just sort of throws it at the plate.
But it was good that she did that, because it's absolutely needed for the dish.
Yeah. And then everyone in the gantry's like, why isn't she frying the egg? And the answer is, it's Poe. And Poe's like, can you do the impossible? No, you can't, but nice try. They tasted it and they said, Poe's dish was quite nice. They said, but Jess's dish was next level, and they absolutely loved it. So Jess gets her immunity. Jess is not up for
but I feel we're all winners.
I think everyone's a winner, but
Jess is a winner, Poe's a winner.
Everyone's a winner, but in a far more real sense, Jess is the winner.
Okay.
Anyway, in a more real and a more meaningful and a far more legally binding sense, Jess is the winner. Okay, so let's go back to last night, shall we? So
the room went wavy and harps.
It did go wavy and harps were playing. It was a veggie night last night. So now I nearly made
vegan night.
Well, it was vegan night, but like they sold it more
vegan night.
They sold it more as veggie night, first of all. It was vegan.
Vegan night.
Because it's obviously they don't want to accidentally have something there that might be not considered vegan.
Like the meat hanging in the background.
Apparently, it's vegan.
The meat hanging in the background.
Well, look, again.
I presume it's styrofoam painted, but still.
So, again, I'm not saying that I have seen that and therefore I know for a fact that it's vegan. However, I would like to quote something here. I'm actually scrolling back through my feed right now, which is a long way to go because it was a busy night. But last night I tweeted about, did anyone else notice the meat hanging in the background when they go up for judging? and somebody did indeed notice that meat. But there was a comment, and I believe this young lady's name is Sarah Clare, and she tweeted to us, "It's vegan!" ! So I'm going to trust her on that one.
That meat is vegan.
I'm going to trust her. Look, we're not in a position to be able to ask, so I'm just going to have to trust her. So there was meat. But look, I was going to do, I've got the Wokwan cookbook from Chef's Table, and it's the Buddhist monk who makes a lot of these sort of dishes and goes around the world teaching harmonious cooking. I very nearly made the Brussels sprout and crunchy rice dish that she has in her book, but then tea cake called. And tea cake, I feel,
You got to tea cake from fucking Brussels sprouts.
I had a craving for tea cake.
Yes, you did.
And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to have tea cake instead. And by the way, thank you to the many people on Twitter who commented on the colour of my KitchenAid.
It is his pride and joy.
It is my pride and joy. So are you, but
mostly the KitchenAid.
Most of the KitchenAid.
I know where I stand in the lineage of your loves.
Now, it was a vegan episode. We were told this.
How did we know it was a vegan episode?
They told us.
They fucking
told us. But I thought it was a good challenge.
It was brilliant, and I loved Shannon Martinez.
Oh, she's amazing.
She's a fucking boss queen. And I wish I was cool enough to be in her coven.
For a start.
Look at the way she just sauntered in.
That strut.
Just that outfit. Just everything. I'm like...
What I'd also like
I just think I'm getting my adult life together, and then I see Shannon Martinez, and I'm like, I will never have that level of coolness.
So what I appreciated about her a lot was that she said, I'm personally not vegan, But I feel like that's why my vegan food works, is I'm not approaching it from a position of being a vegan.
Yep.
I'm approaching it based on, if I'm eating this as not a vegan, what flavours do I want to taste?
Yeah.
How do I want the food to taste? And I actually think it's a good way to come at vegan food, because I think some of the things that put non-vegans off, one, we've talked about it before, it's more the preachiness around it. Two, it's the idea that there are certain stereotypical things that you see time and time and time and time and time again, which don't necessarily appeal to a broad base.
Can I say, though, all the years and that we've been exposed to veganism and people being militant about promoting veganism, and I'm not talking about the people who go and harass farmers and all that kind of shit. I'm talking about people who are passionate and advocating it throughout the years, even when it was just looked at a bunch of hippies eating mung beans and lentils and rice.
You smell like death, by the way, as Creed Bratton will tell you.
Is that it's worked, that this has infiltrated the mainstream, and it's becoming more mainstream as people become more conscious. Like myself, I used to I still do, lay it thick on vegans.
I do too.
And stuff, because it was this self-righteous attitude. But now, with it being more mainstream and more common, the interesting ideas and techniques and philosophies of veganism are more palatable.
And look, there's going to be
both in my face and to my brain.
There's going to be a couple of things. If you've listened to our Bake Off episodes, we're probably going to say a few things we've said on the vegan episode of the Australian Bake Off. But it bears repeating as well, especially for people who haven't heard those episodes. It's not about vegan food or, basically meat-based carnivore sort of style food. Food should be about flavour and should be about enjoyment. And one of the things that I think has happened with vegan food is that there's been a development from this idea of, well, we just have to do it because it's morally correct and we believe morally in it, to it can still taste good. We don't have to do it as suffering. And I think a lot of people saw vegan food early on as, well, you're suffering for a greater purpose. Whereas we just want food that tastes good. And this food looked like it tasted fucking delicious. And one of the greatest meals that I think we've had was Secret Creek Cafe, we've mentioned before.
Yeah.
Which was entirely vegan.
Yep.
And it was fucking delicious.
With an ex-Masterchef contestant.
It was.
Working up there. The thing I do want to add into that is thinking about going back to food privilege and the idea of there are some people in our world who do not have protein, like the accessibility to protein. And if we think back 2 generations ago, even a generation ago for some of us, meat was a treat for families. It was a luxury. To get a steak, like the steak dinner, if you think about the 1950s, treat your man to a steak dinner when he comes home from slaving away of drinking whiskey at his desk all day.
Yeah.
It was a privilege. And just because we live in a society where we have easy access to meat, we can choose to take some responsibility over that and appreciate where it's coming from. I mean, Curtis Stone, I know, ever wonder where, but maybe there's something to it. Maybe we do need to have a little wonder, where did our chicken come from? Where did our meat come from? Do we need that this week? Or can we just have a smoked cauliflower created deliciously?
Can I just say at this point,
things.
Kristie presents a very idea.
A nice little
Kristie presents
set. It's lying on a settee.
Leave Simon out of this.
Sexy cauliflower.
Kristie is.
Oh, look at those florets.
Kristie is talking about an idealized world here. I'm going to bring it back to reality. I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm not going to think about any of that.
No?
I'm not going to think about any of that. Because I'm going to think about how tasty my food is, and that's where I'm going to be.
Right.
And I would love to be able to have that.
That's why we're a couple, and I
would love to be able to have that moral stance on things, but I'm also not going to pretend otherwise.
I'm not saying we have to be purists. You don't have to be purist. You don't have to be an all or nothing. Something is better than nothing, and it's.
Oh no, I agree.
I harp back to a friend of mine who's doing the research in food waste, who basically said we don't need everyone doing it perfectly, or a few people doing it perfectly. We need everyone doing it, as best they can.
Anyway, what about the water waste. Speaking of food waste, water waste apparently is not a thing.
No, just rinse your fucking
Satan.
Satan. Hail Satan.
Right, and again, I know it's Satan, but I'm going to call it fucking Satan because, dear God, it's so much funnier.
Should we be calling it Satan?
Satan. So, Poe was rinsing her Satan. And as Poe was rinsing her Satan,
the gates of hell opened up below her.
and she was complaining that she hadn't actually spent a lot of time washing her Satan. And that was a problem because, like, I'm watching it going, we're talking about food waste here, but meanwhile, Poe is, like, just running the Murray-Darling Basin dry.
It's like, what drought, Australia? I'm making a meat-based substitute. Why don't you just use some fucking meat? Because I don't want to kill an animal.
Now, briefly, just very briefly, not to bring the mood down, because I'm trying to bring the mood back up. But just not to bring the mood down, but I do just want to say, Laura, Brendan, I see both of you. Mm-hmm. It's a creation challenge.
Yeah.
Please be creative in the future. Anyway.
There is nothing to lose.
That's all we're going to say. Because, look, they've both copped it. And I think, I understand. Again, I don't agree with the way that, in particular, I don't agree with the way Laura's copped it. We're not going to have that conversation again. We've had it. But I think that you don't necessarily help yourself when you get a vegan basket and just make all these amazing ideas and try things. And we've talked about the idea of a creation challenge and a mystery box up for immunity. You try shit. The other night when it was elimination, fair enough. Do what you need to do to survive. In this, try shit. And they both defaulted back to their default setting that the judges have called them out on more than once.
Absolutely. And when you see someone like Tessa, who is, her fallback is seafood, who just went, fuck it, I'm going to make a veggie skewer. And gave that a whirl. And she probably learnt stuff from it and knows, well, next time I might do it X, Y, and Z way. Like, I might make triangles instead of squares.
Exactly. So it was,
a pyramid.
Look, I think
so much better on a hibachi.
100%.
A cube.
Look, the thing is that
the pyramid didn't work. I'm going to try a trapezoid.
Try the trapezoid. It's the strongest of the shapes, apparently. But no, I think that you want people to try stuff. Now, what they actually got in the basket, they got baby cos, they got pine mushrooms, garlic, thyme, petite capsicum, or as Andy called them, petite tiny capsicums, because of course the French word doesn't count.
No.
You've got to use
French word.
You've got to use the English
Trey's
word.
very stupid.
Trey's dumb. Celeriac was there, sweet potato was there, asparagus was there, beetroot was there,
Dirt.
Dutch carrots, and pencil neck leeks. Sorry, I mean, that's a wrestling reference for anyone who knows classic Freddie Blassie and his pencil neck geeks references. Okay. So I've got to throw those in for my wrestling homies. They're out there.
And dirt. Lots of dirt.
Lots of soil.
Something vegan? Make a mud pie.
Tonight, the last night, the soil was soil.
Yes. Now, here's my kind of half-joking go at vegans. Apparently, single-celled animals don't count. Apparently, yeast doesn't fucking count. Apparently, yeast is just expendable. You can just bake the shit out of that little fucker. Just wake it up, get it reproducing, being very happy, and then just kill it.
Yep, just kill the yeast. Kill the yeast. You don't think that lettuce heads cry? I'm sure that a lettuce sobs uncontrollably. Anyway,
look, it's been proven that trees talk to each other.
I know that they had a lot of people actually on the gantry, but at one point last night, it looked like it was only Tracy.
Just holding the fort.
Poor Trace. She's running up and down the gantry doing all the yelling and all the shouting at one point, and she's literally by herself.
At least give her a box of wigs. To,
voices, hats, glasses.
She just suddenly
Groucho moustache.
You just suddenly see this blonde woman in a puffy shirt and overalls going, "Oh, it's gorge, doll. It's just gorge. Come on, let's go."
Look, it's lockdown times. You know, the channel on YouTube, Smosh. They do, they're trying not to laugh challenges. They're not using their box of gimmicks at the moment.
No, you do it.
Get them to send them down there. You're my favorite pizza. You're my favorite pizza place. Anyway, so Jess correctly goes through on the basis of that level of creativity was amazing. Now, poor Simon at one point, they went up to his bench and Andy and Jock just started drilling him about what he was making. And you could just see, him going, it's going to be fine. But, like, he's like, well, the casing might not work. And if the casing doesn't work...
On my tacos.
I've got nothing.
My celeriac casing.
So they turned around. They turned around, and the comment they made to him was, you know, "Hi, I'm the veggie guy. I've brought you nothing." And I'm like, that's harsh. I thought that was
I'm sure Simon would have at least presented a head of lettuce.
Yeah, I mean,
bunch of mushrooms.
At the very least. Can I also point out? I want to just defend Khan here as well quickly. I want to defend Khan. Carrot cake is a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, Andy and Jock, for questioning that. What is this anti-carrot agenda? We're starting to see an anti-carrot agenda.
Mixed with an anti-cake agenda.
It had a lot to do, I think it had a lot to do with why Sarah ended up going home. Her links to carrots, obviously.
Whoa.
Big Carrot. She's in the pocket of Big Carrot. She used carrots in the wing dish the other night. Jock didn't like that little bit. There's an anti-carrot agenda, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. We are the people to investigate this. We are the ones to find out why there is an anti-carrot bias in the Masterchef kitchen. I want to know the answer to this question.
Very pro-beetroot, very pro-cauliflower.
They're pro-beetroot, aren't they?
just a lot of beets.
It was also quite amusing last night when they put Melissa up on the box. Because they're like, and she's at the same height as the rest of us.
Woo!
So look, you ended up with, and look, I have to give a special shout out as well for Reese's carrot cake, Reese's carrot cake that he made. Because Carmen was defending carrot cake online, but Reese was making the carrot cake.
Yeah.
And Reese's carrot cake was amazing. Look, even with the beetroot caramel, and I wouldn't eat a beetroot caramel.
No, it looked really good, and I liked how he threw, was it the chilies in it to give it a bit of depth?
And again,
personality. He was personifying his cake.
And we had,
even if it's ugly, at least it's got a good personality.
We had an amazing couple of cooks, as I said, as well. I do have to ask about Reynolds. It looked like you were going to a specialist to maybe get whatever it was, like cauterized and like...
Just lanced.
Yeah, lance it a little bit. It was tiny for a start.
Biopsy.
It was ridiculously tiny. It was, because it was beetroot and they had a bit of a jus around it, it was bleeding. It was like filleted at the top, so it was an open wound. See a professional. If you've got that, if you recognise that, see a professional. Your doctor will not judge you. Your doctor will not be harsh. Your doctor will be kind. Post sweet potato pastries looked amazing.
Wow.
I would have eaten those any day of the week.
Absolutely. But she made essentially two separate dishes. Like, I know they paired beautifully, but she this woman is just, fuck.
I thought that they were really good. Again, I thought that all of the dishes were really a good effort, and they all made me look at vegan food and go, yeah, no, I'd eat that. Yeah. Nothing, of course, to the level of the mushroom pate that we had at Secret Creek.
Oh, my God.
Which is one of the greatest things I've ever put in my mouth.
Wallow that.
Oh, it was so good.
Wallow in it.
Anyway, before we get to the elimination the other night, a very important moment. We have to go through the drinking game. So the drinking game card was as follows. So the drinking game card, as we talk about it from the other night, we had a few hits this week. Last week, not so many. This week, few more.
It's getting comfortably warmed.
Judges use random Aussie slang. Yep, sure did. Especially tonight.
Yeah.
Kingfish.
No,
not really. Vespa. We saw the Vespa. We saw weird parts of the Vespa.
Yeah,
they shot the Vespa at weird angles.
I was saying this on Monday,
the handlebars.
Monday night, that they were just like doing slow pans across it, like I think just trying to make. Are they at
the point now where, you know how like people get photos taken normally, and then when they're like into a marriage and they're worried about the quality of their photos, they all go get those stupid posed ones in studios. You know, where they're cradling like a vase which they've never owned in their life, or they're laying on a rug.
And the soft screen.
And they're all wearing white shirts that are sort of semi-open.
They get a makeover and stuff.
Sorry to anyone in my family who's had these photos taken, and I do know a few of you have.
No, I couldn't imagine your family doing that.
But, like, they're horrible. I'm sorry, I hate those photos. But is this the Vespers moment where they're trying to, like, jazz it up a little bit?
It just needed a rhinestone denim jacket and a mullet.
100%. A group hug. No.
And I don't think we're going to get any of those from now on.
No, we're in COVID.
It was marked tonight. We're entering COVID territory.
Yep. A Po cook.
AC.
A Po cook without a hint of peril. No, they all had peril. They all had peril. Every single fucking one of them had peril. Ice cream. I think we did early on, but we haven't had many. It's been a quiet week for ice cream. We're not going to mention the bottom square. We did that the other night. Hibachi. We had hibachi.
Yes, because Tessa
did it. Tessa hibachi.
Yep.
And I did suggest tonight at one point when Jess was trying to get her crispy noodles to fry up, we know how to raise the temperature in the kitchen. Jock showed us the other night. It's called a hibachi and a blowtorch.
Just fucking two things. Heat going into the hibachi. That oil would have been up to temperature. It would lickety split. Those noodles would have been fried within an inch of its life. And boom!
Now
we go. It's on the plate, and the MasterChef kitchen literally blows up.
Now, the one that would have got everybody drunk this week was contestant says they stepped outside their comfort zone. Fucking hell. I think Reese said that every 2 seconds this week. So Reese alone would have got you tanked in that game. So let's go back.
There's a few people that be happily getting drunk with Reese.
100%.
Yeah.
So let's go back to Tuesday night. Peter Gunn.
Ding, ding, ding. Oh, no, I always do that. I was
waiting for you to do that. Thank you. Royalties. Which is probably why they didn't play the theme. So anyway, you always do James Bond. It's funny.
I know. It just the bass line just gets mixed up in my head, and the Bond theme comes out, and then I go, no, it's the Blues Brothers.
Anyway, let's do. So again, the Peter Gunn theme, as we all know. Da-dum, 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 da-dum.
You bastard.
I'm not fucking with you at all. Anyway, so far more important. Let's get back into the challenge. So I do have a bit of an issue.
It goes like this.
Anyway, this is going to be a really long show as it is. Let's move on.
Oh, no, that's right. It goes...
Dum da 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 da. Anyway, now I've done all these theme tunes. Name that tune. Let's go into This will go forever if we don't get moving.
Okay.
All right.
Country practice.
Bit of a country practice there. Wandon Valley's finest. Anyway, Masterchef the other night in the ad.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt. Do you remember when we went to the Hunter Valley for the first time together?
Yes.
And we went to the Wandon Valley Winery.
Yes.
And the poor young girl, we've gone in there looking for Esme and Cookie, and she had no fucking clue what
I might have ducked behind a couple of shrubs and looked over the top of them like Esme in the credits to A Country Practice.
Completely lost on the young woman.
She had she wasn't fucking born. She has no idea. She's doing this in her holidays. She's at uni.
But you know what? There's always someone each day who fucking does it, and
She's got no idea. She's now worked there for like 6 years. No clue. Anyway, so no offence to anyone in that pressure test. MasterChef ads this week have gone a bit overboard. They kept referring to the 7 MasterChef legends. I don't know if anyone in there is going to refer to themselves as a MasterChef legend. I'm just putting that out. They might. They could. There are a couple that might do that. But I don't think it's a common way that people in there are going to describe themselves.
I'm okay with poetic license, but that's a long bow, particularly when you're talking about people going into elimination.
But they did it again tonight too.
Yeah.
MasterChef legends. And I'm like, and I think they said Sunday night is MasterChef legends. I'm like, no, they're just fucking contestants
that have been on before.
They've been on before. It's great. Like, and again,
I like them.
And we're not downplaying. We're not downplaying anyone in there.
No,
but they didn't win.
There's only one legend in MasterChef.
I'm just putting it out there.
There's only one legend because it has a myth attached to it.
John,
the white chocolate velouté.
And the other legend. And the other legend of
got our own children.
No, there's one other. There's one other legend.
Yeah,
but he was never in the show.
Trent.
No, Nathan.
Yes.
Right. He was never in the show. But his legend will live forever.
Yes.
So that's a very important... There's 2 legends, John, Nathan. There you go. One in the show, one just appeared in tomato sauce. Anyway, let's get into the boxes, shall we? The black box challenge. I thought it was a worthwhile thing.
Little boxes made of black stuff and white chocolate and some spray stuff. Little boxes.
I thought it was...
on the benches.
I thought it was worthwhile. I thought it was worthwhile insofar as black boxes are used in aircraft to record what happens when there's a horrible crash. And it was a tale of it was a tale of Sarah Airways, and there were two. As a religious viewer of air crash investigation, they were diving to the bottom of the Mariana Trench to find both Sarah's black boxes to work out what happened in the collision of the two aircraft. The answer, by the way, is a ridiculously overcomplicated dish. In all honesty, I'm kind of going to go out on a limb here and go, they were hyped up to do the challenge. People in the kitchen were hyped up to do the challenge.
Yeah.
But the box itself, I kind of thought it was a bit dull.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person, and someone's going to come at me online and go, "You don't understand Masterchef." I thought it was a bit dull. I thought it was a bit basic. The pearls, for example, we fucking did those last year. There's a reason why Tessa did those pearls so perfectly. They fucking did them last year. That was in the challenge where they had to go across the city. They did the pearls.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure it was that challenge, but they did it last year.
Yeah, but did they stuff those pearls into a box? Because that's a whole new technique.
I'm sure they put it in a shape.
Like if you're creating little white pearls and then putting them into the box, like that usually requires a turkey baster or some, little like pipette kind of thing, just to really get them tight, stuffed right in there.
Now there's two ways.
There's
two ways that we can. Okay, so I'm going to give the listeners at home a bit of a choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
We can discuss the technique of this box and the dishes, and we can discuss what was in the box and how the boxes were made, and we can do all of this technique-based things. Right? We can do all of that. Or we can make a bunch of innuendo jokes about box references and pearl necklaces. Give me a minute. And your vote is? Pause. I thought so. So anyway, they're all getting in their boxes.
Now,
Sarah was cramming things into her little box.
Stuffing them in and stuffing it up. Now, for someone who I think has a lot of experience, dealing with boxes and, potentially stuffing things in or having things stuffed into their box, I just feel that there should have been a lot more finesse going on. There should have been less panic and more kind of like, I got this. I do this all the time.
We were giggling like you wouldn't believe it this episode. It felt Bake Off. Now, the one thing I will do is, and it was one of my favourite moments of the episode, and it was something that happened here, not on screen, but it happened on screen. It was your reaction. So Jock turns around. I can't remember who he was talking to at the time.
I think it was Sarah.
It was one of the Sarahs. Yeah. And he turns around and he goes, "Have you got a backup plan?" And Kristie yells at the top of her lungs at the TV, "What fucking backup plan could she have, Jock? It's a set challenge."
Oh, if this set challenge doesn't go through, will you be serving us up, I don't know,
sphere?
A sphere? Some parfait and a soil? Like, what's your fucking backup? Like, what kind of stupid question is that to ask someone who is dealing with box stuffing?
You're missing an element. No fucking shit, but you told me to have a backup plan.
Look, there is a lot of times in my life where I have been trying to enjoy working with my box and someone has inconsiderately just said something really fucking painful and stupid like Jock did at that time. Just put me completely off.
And your pearls went everywhere.
Pearls go everywhere. The box breaks. You're like, nah. And they're like, oh, come on, we'll try again. You're like, no, that's it. I'm done. Good night.
But I mean, the good news was that once Jock stopped that, they went off to spray their black boxes. And look, I thought they were giving them a very thorough spray. After they turned the boxes out, and after they made sure that the boxes came out in a perfect shape, then they went off and sprayed them expertly. And they did not miss any. It was just perfect.
They
spray.
shined those boxes
They
right up.
shined the box, they sprayed the box, they turned the box over, they made sure the box was fit for stuffing. Simon then turned around and commented at the time, "Well, I've sprayed my box and there's a little bit of a hole in it."
But who surprised me was Brandon Pang. And what surprised me even more is that he was getting coaching from Reese. Now, these are two gentlemen that I deeply believe do not have a lot of experience with boxes. They may have more experience with things that are rod-shaped and donut holes. Just guessing, just thinking out loud, just spitballing here. But I don't think they've got a lot of experience with boxes. But I am so happy to see that Reese basically tells Brandon, treat it gently.
Exactly. Delicately.
Delicately.
Like a flower.
I mean, some people like their boxes treated rough,
But
it's a choice. And this box needed a gentle touch. And I think Reese was there on point. Well done, Reese.
100%.
Much better than Jock, who I presume likes boxes.
Oh, 100%. And look, I thought that, like, poor Khan, I felt for Khan, who said that he was thoroughly confused by this challenge and didn't understand it.
He's also had a lot of...
lack of grasp. Like, it's very difficult to grasp the idea of the box.
He's already stuck, studying how to float back with Melissa Leon.
The worst part about this too was when they had to flip the boxes over for presentation. And look, there's nothing worse than you see, for example, I think it was when Sarah turned her box out and it just sort of stuff went everywhere. Like you had leakage from the bottom of the box. And look, leakage from your bottom of your box is not good. Also, when you crack your box and it doesn't open, that's not nice.
That's a serious repair issue
when somebody hits that box firmly and like it just sort of, I mean, the good part was it didn't just go straight to pieces. I actually thought that was a benefit.
And you know what? Sarah didn't cover one of her elements to go in the box. And, you got to play it safe these days and sometimes cover the element that's going into your box. You never know what could happen if you don't cover your element going into the box.
Look, I thought that...
A bit of chocolate.
I thought that there was a couple more moments. Like Simon is trying to talk about his one and he's like, I literally only have one box. If it cracks, I'll literally have nothing to serve the judges.
I mean, that's beautiful. A man just being, monogamous to one box. I mean, no disrespect. I am totally into poly boxes. If you've got many boxes in your life and it's all consensual, go for it.
I want to know if the judges had issues. I know that I think Sarah Clare mentioned on Twitter that one of her voiceovers took 3 goes because she could not stop laughing. But there was, for example, Melissa Leong said at one point when she was tasting them that she was satisfied with the symmetry of Laura's box. And look, I've never really heard the symmetry praised before, but look, it's one of the things I like about the judges this year is they're changing it up. They're coming at the boxes from different angles and they're taking different approaches, but they're valuing all boxes. And the idea of symmetry being praised in a box, I think it's about time.
Yeah, and but they're also not box shaming. No. If someone's box wasn't perfect, wasn't symmetrical, they're like, oh my God, that's an ugly box. That's not a box that I'd eat.
Andy got close because Andy did say that Sarah's box lacked the good stuff. And so, look, you don't want judgment that says your box lacks the good stuff.
No.
And look, Andy, maybe if you think a box lacks the good stuff, maybe you need to work a bit harder. Maybe you need to work a bit harder. If you think the box lacks the good stuff, work a bit harder, man.
Sometimes
put the effort
in there. It's not the box's fault.
You need to do a bit more work, Andy.
And maybe that box will give you the good stuff. Maybe it's holding back. I'm really glad to see on the screen last night, no boxes given the bad stuff.
No, it was very good.
No boxes having to get called into the medic and looked over and prescribed some cream.
So,
yes.
Do you think that'll do them on box metaphors? I think we're there.
Yeah,
I think we're there. I think much like a lot of these boxes, I think we reached our goal. Anyway, so we made it to where we needed to make it to.
I hope everyone's satisfied with how we've handled the box.
We are. Look, we can always do better. Box handling is something that, look, it's an art that takes years to perfect.
And I think after
for some of us, it's a lifetime.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I think it's time for us all just to get together and spoon now. After you've had some heavy box
they
did.
Play, the funny part was they did, of course, use spoons on the box.
They did. They did. So
after you crack open the box, a bit of spooning.
So
We're talking about eating the goods inside the box with the spoon. Anyway.
If you want to jump in, be little spoon, big spoon, middle spoon. There are 2 of us here. pick your spoon drawer. Really.
Anyway, that's this week's episode. Thank you very much for listening to our inane chatter. We really appreciate it. Thank you to all the feedback this week too. We've had a lot of really good feedback on a lot of things, and we really appreciate all of it. Thank you very much to everyone who sort of sent us a message and commented. It's been great. Thank you to everyone who's playing along with the drinking game. When I put the drinking game out again on Sunday, share it with everyone, because I'm still seeing people on Twitter going, I wish there was a drinking game.
Do you think they're trolling you though?
No, they're really not. Although I like the fact that there are people on the feed going, you're going to be fucking kidding me, we've been playing it for weeks. All right. If you've got a suggestion for the drinking game, please hit us up before Sunday, because I put it together on Sundays. So if you've got anything before there, let us know before Sunday. And if we look at it and go, yeah, we haven't done that, might end up with the drinking game card. Who knows? Anyway, we might also have a bit more for you coming up. We're going to keep that powder dry. Until next time we speak to you, I'm still Chris,
And I'm still Kristie.
and we'll catch you all later.
Big box, big box.